Hey guys, Luke C here with TFBTV. We're back from SHOT Show 2025, all sort of well and rested after 2 weeks of nonstop editing videos. I think we shot about 100 of them at the show and are just now getting them wrapped up. So make sure you stay tuned to TFBTV Showtime for all of our coverage from the show. We saw a lot of cool things at SHOT Show, tons of fancy guns, pistols, rifles, suppressors, you name it, we saw it. And today we're going to talk about none of those fancy things. Instead, we are going to talk about our top 5 budget items from the show that we saw. Before we get started, I'd just like to say that while the show itself felt a little slow, there was actually quite a few good new releases and a lot of updates to a lot of old and classic lines that I really liked. For example, the Beretta 20X, which we saw right at the start of the show at Beretta Range Day, was probably one of my favorite guns that I saw. A long-awaited update to the Beretta 21A Bobcat. So 20X, welcome update, but again, not fitting for this list. So let's kick off our coverage of the top 5 with the PSA 570. The PSA 570 we saw last year at SHOT Show 2024 in a pump action configuration, and it quickly gained the favor of most of you guys watching these videos. In fact, it was one of the most popular options from last year. So this year, PSA shows up and they decided to upgrade it with semi-auto functionality this time. And that's not just by creating a new receiver and a new operating system. They actually just took the 570 pump action receiver and slapped a bunch of semi-auto parts on it, and apparently you can do this backwards and forwards all day long to your heart's content, along with all the other flexibility and compatibility that the PSA 570 modular shotgun system gives you. This includes Mossberg 500 furniture, 4-end parts. I'm assuming that that PSA is going to part out this shotgun, so you can buy it a la carte, just like you would on their website with any of their AR-15 parts, which I think is going to be cool for the shotgun community. You know, it's been an AR-15 man's world for a long time, and I think it's cool that shotguns are finally starting to get a little bit more attention that they deserve. Now, no price on these yet, but this being PSA, they're probably going to be around the $500 to $600 mark at the most, I would assume, unless they start going the way of the PSA Saber line, which I hope they don't. I'm really hoping that this shotgun stays in line with their budget mindset. Next up is the Glock COA or COA. I think James already got his PP slapped for calling it the COA, so COA from here on out. The infamous block-on-block small Acro P2 footprint on top of a standard Gen 5 Glock. Now, this is kind of a controversial pick in my opinion, because while Glock can't really exactly be considered budget by most people's opinion, and neither can Aimpoint stuff, I think the combination of the two justifies the budget designation. Why? Well, take the quality of the products to begin with. Glock overall is considered a bone stock, uninspiring, solid choice for a handgun, be it the Glock 19, the Glock 48 like I carry, Glock 43X, what have you. Aimpoint similarly has a good reputation for producing some of the best optics, including red dots in the industry. Now, the COA is a brand new variant of the Acro P2, which comes in a little bit slimmer than the standard model while keeping the same window size. What they've done is they've shrunk down that bezel, giving you a slightly bigger viewing window, and also giving you coat witness backup iron sights, which also serve to wedge down the optic into the pistol slide. Well, I didn't personally get to handle one at Range Day. James and Ryan did, and they had an absolute blast with it. Now, I did a little bit of digging around online, and it looks like you can pick up a Glock COA for around $800 street price. For a pistol optic combo, that's really not a bad deal. That's about $500 for the pistol and $300 for the optic. I think that's a good deal any day, especially for a Glock and Aimpoint combo. So if you're one of those people who just wants the buy once, cry once setup for a carry gun, this seems like it might be a good budget option for you for about $600 or $700. Next up, love it or hate it, the 8.6 Blackout cartridge is making waves this year at SHOT Show 2025, and Bear Creek Arsenal obviously wanted to be part of the fun. This year, they debuted a new 8.6 Blackout barrel along with a pistol configuration that you can pick up for about $650. Big bore AR stuff is something that Bear Creek Arsenal has dabbled with in the past with some of their 4.58 SOCOM barrels and builds. 8.6 Blackout doesn't seem that big of a stretch for them to go after next. 8.6 Blackout is intended primarily to be a subsonic cartridge, so their side charger upper is obviously a perfect match for that, with it having some extra gas defeating capabilities. 8.6 Blackout has been making huge waves this year at SHOT Show 2025, for better or for worse. Some people love the cartridge, some people hate it. This is not Bear Creek Arsenal's first venture into big bore rifles. They have 350 Legend and 458 SOCOM offerings out there, and so this is a natural next step for them if they want to be part of the party. What's kind of cool is that Bear Creek Arsenal is kind of making everything in-house, all of their own parts, from their receivers to their handguards, their barrels, and even some of their new furniture, which includes things like pistol braces, stocks, pistol grips, and even their own magazines. Bear Creek Arsenal is doing a lot to try to bring the cost down for the end customer, but for $650, the Bear Creek Arsenal 8.6 Blackout pistol is probably a good way to test out that cartridge without spending $1,000+ on a brand new rifle. All right, next up, the Titus Arms VZ61 Scorpion clone. This one kind of garnered a little bit of controversy during the show. For one reason or another, some people are convinced that they can do it for cheaper. Other people are convinced that it's too expensive. I don't really build guns from kits, so I have no idea how much it would actually cost me to get this. It would probably cost me more than I think it's actually worth to shoot the gun, as cool as it is. But dungeon superiority, once again, this was another find from the dungeon, mine and James's favorite place during the show, and this will fulfill all of your inner Slavaboo dreams and then some. The receiver, from what I understand, is made from 3D printed material, and the remainder of the gun is made out of parts kits, which are selected by the guys at Titus Arms for quality for the customer. Now, for those of you who want to suppress it or maybe put a muzzle brake on it or something like that, it will be threaded in a normal thread pitch, 1/2x28. Those same 3D printed receivers should theoretically also keep the cost down, and if you feel like building one out yourself, they're going to also be selling receivers for about $60. If you want a complete pistol like me, it's probably going to set you back about $600, which for something this cool, cloned in 32 ACP, I think is probably well worth it. I think it's like $580. There's some of you out there who will probably spend more on their carry pistols than they will on this fancy little range toy. Now, before we move on to our number 5, I'd like to shout out our subscribe star. I know that we talk about this a lot, but YouTube isn't exactly the friendliest place for us right now in this environment. So if you go over to Subscribestar, you throw us a couple bucks a month as we put out videos. It really helps us out to be able to put out these videos every year at SHOT Show. We don't get paid to go to SHOT Show by manufacturers. We don't get paid to do these interviews by these companies. We basically go after what we're interested in, and we find it and we like to share it with you guys. And you guys helping us out on places like Subscribestar really does a lot in keeping us at SHOT Show every year and bringing you guys the 100+ on freaking videos that we do every year. Subscribestar.com/TFBTV. Throw us a few bucks a month. You'll keep us afloat and you'll keep the content flowing. Next up, we have Aimpoint and their new large format pistol series. If you guys have seen this before, you'd be right. That's because pretty much everyone and their mother has done this. Aimpoint has basically taken their carbines and chopped them down into large format pistols with shorter barrel lengths so that you, the end user, can do whatever the heck you want to in the confines of our wonderful and glorious gun laws that we currently have. That means that it comes standard with a rear Picatinny rail for attaching all of the latest stocks and or braces, as well as threading for standard AR-15 buffer tubes. This last option is kind of a neat one because that means you can probably mate the back of this with some sort of A2 stock, which would look kind of cool. I'd certainly be interested in doing one of those, but as it stands, it's basically the same carbine that you guys know and love with some improved sights and the exact same magazine compatibility, durability, and functionality that you've always come to expect from Aimpoint, whatever that may be. The new Aimpoint large format pistols come in at around $400, which is a bargain for an NFA project that you're just wanting to start, or if you just want a backyard range trash blaster. Aimpoint firearms do get dabbed on a lot, probably for a lot of good reasons, but at the end of the day, they do work and they are fun to shoot. So that was my top 5 budget items for the year. If I missed anything, if you guys saw anything that was of better budget value to you, please let me know in the comments. I don't get to see everything at the show, unlike some people think. I am mostly stuck walking the floor endlessly, wandering and trying to find the correct booths, as well as trying to keep Hop motivated enough to actually show up to the show the next day and not go home early. More top 5 videos coming your guys' way. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.
Hop, where are we? Holy shit. If you know, you know.